It was a chilly Saturday afternoon in New York City when everything changed for Ryan Carter. The sky was overcast, the streets wet from an early drizzle, and Central Park was buzzing with the usual mix of runners, dog walkers and tourists. But Ryan wasn't paying attention to any of that. His mind was fixed on one person, Hailey Monroe. Hailey wasn't just any woman. She was Ryan's college classmate, former group project partner, and lately, someone he couldn't stop thinking about. They hadn't seen each other in almost a year, but when he received her message asking to catch up, something inside him sparked. He arrived at the cafe early. Sitting by the window with 2 cappuccinos already ordered, Ryan kept checking his phone and glancing at the door. The door opened, the bell chimed, and there she was. Hailey. Same bright smile. Same confident walk. Her hazel eyes scanned the room before locking onto his. She walked over, and in one swift motion, she dropped her purse on the chair beside him and said, "Ryan, it's so good to see you again." And then came the hug. It wasn't just a casual one-armed side hug or a brief pat on the back kind of thing. It was a full-bodied, genuine embrace that caught Ryan off guard. Her arms wrapped around him like old times mattered, like she was genuinely happy to see him. Time seemed to pause. Ryan had a choice. Respond to it the way most guys would, or do something subtle yet unforgettable. He chose the latter. He hugged her back with warmth, gently but firmly. Not too tight, not too casual. Then, instead of pulling away immediately, he waited just half a second longer. And during that pause he said softly, "I missed this." The moment froze in Hailey's eyes. Her smile widened, but there was something more, something deeper. It wasn't what he said that mattered most. It was how he said it. His tone was calm, sincere. It made her feel remembered, special. Like time hadn't erased the bond they had. They sat down, ordered a croissant to share, and fell into conversation like no time had passed. Hailey told stories of working in San Diego, the mistakes she made, the friends she lost touch with. Ryan listened, not just to her words, but to her expressions, her pauses, the way she played with her necklace when she got nervous. What made Ryan unforgettable in that moment wasn't the hug. It was the attention he gave her after it. When she laughed, he looked into her eyes. When she mentioned something emotional, he didn't try to fix it or minimize it. He just nodded and said, "That must have been really tough." His empathy created emotional safety, something rare. They walked out of the cafe 2 hours later. The rain had stopped, and a ray of sunlight peeked through the clouds. As they reached the park, Hailey stopped. "Let's walk a little," she said, linking her arm through his. "This feels nice." Ryan smiled. "It does." During their walk, they passed street performers and food vendors. A saxophonist played a slow jazz tune, and Hailey paused to listen. Ryan didn't rush her. He let her take in the music, gave her space to enjoy the moment. That's when she turned and asked, "Did you ever think we'd end up here again, just like old times?" Ryan didn't jump to flattery or nostalgia. He looked at her and said, "I think certain people walk back into your life for a reason. And I'm not the kind to ignore that." It was the kind of comment that wasn't cheesy but thoughtful. It hinted at depth without pressure. She tilted her head, searching his eyes, and smiled. They sat on a bench nearby, people watching and reminiscing. But Ryan made sure to ask her questions about her passions now. Not just where she worked but what lit her up. Hailey's face came alive when she talked about her latest charity event, about her dream of starting her own design studio. He listened like her dreams mattered. Because they did. Before long she checked the time. "I have to meet my sister soon." But this was amazing. He stood up with her, and as they began to part, she leaned in for another hug. This time Ryan did something different. As they embraced, he lightly rested his hand on her back, not in a possessive way, but in a grounding, reassuring way. And he whispered, "Thanks for trusting me with your stories today." Her head tilted back slightly, and she looked up at him. "You really haven't changed," she said. "Maybe just got better at listening," he replied with a grin. She laughed. "Let's not wait another year to do this again." Only if you promise to bring the same energy, Ryan teased. As she walked away, she looked back once, smiled, then disappeared into the crowd. Ryan knew something had shifted. He didn't use pickup lines. He didn't try to impress her with flashy gestures. But he had left a mark. By responding with calm presence, by noticing details, and by speaking with quiet confidence. The next day she texted him, still smiling about yesterday. You've always had a way of making me feel seen. Let's hang again soon. And just like that, Ryan stayed on her mind, not because of the hug but because of how he responded to it. He made her feel like she mattered. And that's what made him unforgettable. 1 month later, Hailey and Ryan had met up 3 more times. A museum visit, a rooftop dinner, a spontaneous coffee run after a late-night call. But the moment that really sealed it came on a quiet evening when Hailey opened up about her fear of failing, of not living up to expectations. Most guys might have offered advice. But Ryan just said, maybe failure's just proof you're chasing something meaningful. She stared at him, lips slightly parted. How do you always know what to say? He chuckled. I don't. I just care about what you're saying. It wasn't the words themselves. It was the energy behind them. A genuine man who made her feel understood, not just admired. And when she hugged him again that night, this time longer, this time warmer, Ryan knew it wasn't just a hug. It was trust, connection, the beginning of something real. And that's how you respond to a hug and stay on her mind forever. Not with rehearsed lines or alpha energy, but with something rare. Presence, empathy, and authenticity. The kind of energy that lingers long after you part ways. The kind of energy that makes her wonder about you when you're not around. And that's exactly what Hailey did. As she laid in bed later that night, scrolling through her messages, her fingers hovered over Ryan's name. She smiled not because of what he said but because of how he made her feel.